This is the ANDYCINE A6 II. It is a touchscreen, 1600 nits, 4K monitor with pretty much all of the features you could want from a monitor. It doesn't exactly reinvent the wheel or bring a bunch of new gimmicks and features when it comes to 5.5 inch on-camera monitors, but what it does, it really does well. You know, I'm really into the 5-ish inch monitors for on-camera stuff. The 7-inch ones just seemed like overkill to me and just dwarf most of my cameras, which are like the S5 II, GH6, and you know, that extra half an inch on the 5-inch kind of format for this ANDYCINE is, I think it really works. So as you can see, it comes in this case, which is actually a really decent case, and it's kind of going to be the de facto way I think most people are going to store this thing. It was a trend for a while there to not include carrying cases and things like that and just have you figure it out on your own. And so I really like this trend of including packaging that doubles as the case this thing's going to go into. But the kit I received came with the monitor itself, an HDMI cable, but it uses the micro HDMI. I've got my own HDMI cable though, so not a big deal. We've also got a great little tilt arm, which I like that setup, and a few other things like a USB-C adapter and a cool MPF battery with a USB-C charging option, which is another trend I really like to see from ANDYCINE and others. That MPF battery isn't like the biggest capacity in the world, but it's a nice little extra, and the ability to USB-C charge it on the go is really handy. As far as the monitor itself, the build quality is pretty good actually. I think they were really trying to keep the weight down, so this is a mostly plastic design, and it's mostly pretty good plastic. It feels a little bit cheaper than like the most premium monitor you're going to be able to buy, but I think the price reflects that, and again, I think the service of the lightweight was a good trade-off. There's nothing lacking here, but it doesn't feel like top of the line necessarily, but it's pretty good.
What do you think? I like it.
It's got 1/4 inch threads on the top, bottom, one side, and back for lots of different setups, and personally I love these physical custom buttons. I'm always going to choose physical buttons over a touchscreen based thing, especially when it comes to like these customizable buttons for sure. And on the same side as those buttons, we've got a little switch that enables or disables that touchscreen. So if you're a touchscreen guy, great. If you're worried you're going to bump something, or you're, you know, maybe want to lock it before you do a take, that works too. It's cool that there's a option, or an easy option to make that happen. If we go to the other side, we've got our menu button and up and down toggle, which helps you navigate the menu without the touchscreen. Although I usually am navigating the menu with the touchscreen and using the buttons, the custom buttons for like the more, you know, custom functions, which, you know, I think it makes sense for me, but it's nice that you can do both. And of course, you've got the power button, which sort of doubles as an exit menu button or like a back button kind of. It's cool that these things have multiple functions. Of course, we have our HDMI in and out on the other side, as well as a DC power option. And on bottom, we've got a few ports for headphones, some more power stuff, and a USB port, which is cool. I also love this little optional clip-on part that lets you easily attach or detach this Velcro hood to, you know, shade from the sun. I mean, this monitor is pretty bright. 1600 nits is nothing to sneeze at, but still, when it's really, really bright out, any extra help you can get for really bright sunlight is very much welcomed. Let's look at the actual screen though. The first thing I noticed when booting this thing up was just, this is a really nice screen, and you know, not all 1080p monitors are built equally. I've definitely tested other monitors in the past that are just okay when it comes to the image. Some are a little soft, some are clearly soft but digitally sharpened, and the ANDYCINE is a lot more neutral. Like you see what the monitor shows you, you get what you get, and I haven't had any unexpected shifts in like contrast or color, and the detail and sharpness looks really good and natural. So just when it comes to being a monitor, the screen and the video image quality is really, really nice. It's really difficult to show this on camera, so yeah, it's 1080p, it's 1600 nits, it's got a good contrast ratio. It's a really solid monitor, especially for the price. It also has pretty much all of those classic monitoring effects and, you know, overlays and exposure options and all that stuff you'd expect from a monitor like this. So what's the catch here? What doesn't this monitor have? Well, I've made videos and I'm sure you guys have seen monitors elsewhere that have a bunch of bells and whistles and extra features and gimmicks, and those are cool. Having the ability to record your camera's screen for YouTube is really fun and important for me. Having monitors with built-in wireless transmitters is a really cool idea, but if you're really just looking for a solid on-camera monitor, this, again, like I said, doesn't reinvent the wheel. It's just improving and iterating upon ANDYCINE's previous designs, and when it comes to just image quality and usability, it really just nails it without adding in a bunch of extra gimmicks. I think the closest you have is that extra power you can send out from the monitor to potentially power your camera, I believe, or I don't know, I don't really use that feature, but again, when it comes to just being a monitor, this is really good. So I did have one little issue with this thing, and I thought it was worth mentioning because if you're someone that shoots a lot of 4K 60, depending on your camera, this might not exactly be the monitor for you. So I used this for a whole wedding day on my GH6, shot all kinds of resolutions and frame rates, worked great. I have no issues there. But when I switched to my S5 Mark II for a different wedding, I specifically wanted it because of some of the LUTs that are built into the camera and the ability to use custom LUTs. But when I switched to the S5 Mark II, I couldn't get a signal. I realized later that it was actually 4K 60 specifically that was causing me the issues, which is weird because 4K 24, 4K 30, and 4K 48 even all displayed fine. But 4K 60, there would be no signal. I double checked on my GH6 and yeah, 1080p 60, 4K 60, 4K 120, 5.7K 60, all worked fine and displayed fine on the monitor, which I'm using right now, by the way. But it all worked perfectly fine on the GH6, just not the S5 Mark II. So I heard back from ANDYCINE, and they actually didn't really design this monitor with 4K 60 in mind specifically, but it did work. So I'm not sure what to think about that. I hope someone has a few more cameras than me can test this thing and see what cameras it does and doesn't work on, especially the 4K 60, or maybe ANDYCINE can offer more information. If they do, I'm gonna add it in right now. But yeah, other than that one issue I had with the S5 Mark II, overall, my experience with this monitor was great. I love the case, I love the accessories, I love some of the modern features like the USB-C charging NPF battery, and just the overall quality and usability was really nice. This is gonna be a really handy monitor to use on my GH6, but for my S5 II, I guess I'm gonna have to figure out something else. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching, thanks for stopping by. This is a really solid monitor, and I think ANDYCINE makes some really great stuff. I reviewed one of their V-mount batteries before. You can check that out here, and that was really solid as well. So everything I've used from them, I've been impressed with so far, and I know they're a solid name in the business, and they're keeping that tradition up of making quality products with this ANDYCINE A6 Mark II. Really solid. Yeah, thanks for stopping by. See you guys in the next one. If you think you can guess this lens, by the way, drop it in the comments. And if you want to get a cool look like this, let me know. Maybe I'll make a video on what I'm doing exactly here. Ooh, here's a hint right here. I have to do this. Okay, I should probably go. All right, cut.